Learning Objective 2 from Section 2.3 is to write appropriate null and alternative hypotheses for testing a given claim, in both correct statistical notation and in words. Here's an example. With movie viewing at home made so convenient by services such as Netflix, pay-per-view, and video on demand, do a majority of Salt Lake City residents now prefer watching movies at home rather than going to the theater? To investigate, a local college student, Lori, decides to conduct a poll of adult residents of Salt Lake City. She selects a random sample of 100 adult residents from the city and gives each participant the choice between watching a movie at home or the same movie at the theater. She would like to test whether less than half of adult Salt Lake City residents choose to watch a movie at the theater. First, pick the correct null hypothesis. The null hypothesis is always a statement of equality. If we were to write the hypotheses in symbols, the null hypothesis would always have the equal symbol in it. So let's read these possibilities. 50% of adult residents in Salt Lake City choose to watch the movie at the theater. Or, more than 50% of adult residents in Salt Lake City choose to watch the movie at the theater. Or, less than 50% of adult residents in Salt Lake City choose to watch the movie at the theater. There's only one statement here of equality, the one that says 50% of adult residents in Salt Lake City choose to watch the movie at the theater. The others are inequalities, greater than or less than. The alternative hypothesis will be a statement of inequality. So B or C would be our alternative hypothesis. You could also use the symbol not equal to in the alternative hypothesis. The way that you determine which inequality symbol, less than, greater than, or not equal to, goes in the alternative hypothesis is based on the wording of the question. So if we look here, it says that Lori would like to test whether less than half of adult Salt Lake City residents choose to watch a movie at the theater. So our alternative hypothesis here is that less than half choose, or less than 50% of adult residents in Salt Lake City choose to watch the movie at the theater. Here's an example using symbols. Suppose you want to see if there are gender differences in exercising at Salt Lake City Community College. A random sample of 150 SLCC students are asked, do you exercise regularly, yes or no? You want to investigate the proportion of all SLCC students who exercise regularly. A recent study by NYU said that 45% of college students exercise regularly. To test whether the proportion at SLCC is higher than the results of the NYU study, the correct set of hypotheses is, so first of all, we already said that the null hypothesis is always a statement of equality. So there's always going to be an equal sign in the null hypothesis, which means that we can eliminate G, H, and I since those have inequalities in the null hypothesis and equalities in the alternative. Remember that the equal is always in H sub 0 and the alternative is always in H sub A. All right, so we want to have an equal in the null hypothesis. The next thing to remember is that hypotheses are always about parameters. The parameter here is the proportion of all SLCC students who exercise regularly. The symbol for the population proportion is P, not P hat. So we can eliminate A, B, and C since those all have P hat symbols in them, and that's the symbol for the sample proportion. So we're down to only 3 possibilities. The null hypothesis has P equal to the claim value of 0.45. The alternative hypothesis, again, is based on the wording of the question. We want to test whether the proportion is higher at SLCC than that 0.45 result of the NYU student study. And so therefore we're going to choose F, which is the one that has the greater than symbol in the alternative hypothesis. So writing hypotheses in symbols uses H sub 0 as the notation for the null hypothesis, H sub A as the notation for the alternative hypothesis. The hypotheses will always have parameter symbols in them. So for the population proportion, that's P. And then the alternative hypothesis will have the inequality symbol based on the wording of the question.